Training Camp Live presented by American Airlines here from Oxnard, California, alongside the Super Bowl champion Isaiah Stanback, who will be on the call for the broadcast coming up on Sunday. Cowboys-Rams getting started at 3:30. I'm Kyle Youmans. Let's take a look. We've got some combo drills. This is the nice thing that we like to watch. It's called one-on-ones. They do have some linebacker working here, maybe working against pressure now and again from the quarterback position. So, Isaiah, on a drill like this, what do you want to look for?
Oh, or you're just looking for guys to be able to execute. Obviously, defense, they're installing new concepts. Offensively, you just want to see the guys be able to go out there and run the routes correctly, the ball put in a proper location. It looks like we're in 7-on-7.
Yeah, I think they actually added a couple more guys. I like it.
So one-sided 7-on-7, it looks like.
So combo drills, not just one-on-ones. Look at the trips formation. You got to sort through that. Never easy. Got to pass off the linebacker. Good job. Dak wants to go deep to Jalen Brooks, but overthrows just a tad.
Yeah, just a little bit there. You saw it's a little combo coverage. It's a little hard when you're seeing only one side of the defense, but ultimately you want to see good releases up front. They had John Stevens at the point of attack. He was able to get a good release. They ran what they called a spacing concept, where you take tight end, throw him over the center box, and then take a guy to the corner.
So now we'll have a different group of receivers on the outside. You got John Stevens out there too, which is fun. Tight end working out wide like that. He showed that ability last year prior to the injury in the preseason game against Seattle. Let's see what he has here. A little delayed release. Look at that rocket.
Nice.
That's Trey Lance putting it on the money. You want to see more out of Trey Lance this week, right?
Yeah, you want to see Trey Lance show up in a big way. Obviously, he came in last year and had an opportunity just to sit down and watch. But now the expectation is for him to come in and compete for that backup position. He's going to get plenty of opportunities this preseason.
Yeah, you think maybe he could take the majority of preseason snaps because that's the real opportunity he has to win that number 2 job. Right now, it looks like Cooper Rush head and shoulders above Trey Lance. All right, ones are back up, including Ezekiel Elliott running wide. It's also Tyron Billy Johnson, who's earned some different reps with the ones. Bootleg out wide from Dak. He just dumps it off to Zeke.
4-1-5, huh? Dak getting the ball out there to Zeke and playing a little man-to-man coverage. Zeke was out there actually spread out in the outside man of the bunch formation. So maybe they're trying to show off some of his ability to be able to work inside and outside the box this year.
Well, we talked about his pass protection ability. He's always been almost like an extra blocker in the backfield as a running back. He can also be a weapon in the passing game. That's something that Zeke has shown throughout the years. John Stevens back in. Cooper Rush at quarterback. Again, bootleg, finds the tight end on the far sideline for a completion. It's a short completion, maybe about 4 yards on that one.
Yeah, it looks like they're working a little bit of a scramble drill in the 7-on-7 session here, where the quarterback gets out the pocket, sets in, and then gets out the pocket, and they're working man-to-man, making sure that the defenders are able to stay with their man throughout that entire play.
You did your fair share of scrambling back in the day. I mean, how important is it to have a drill like this and to get a feel for when and when not to scramble?
Yeah, it's great for both sides of the ball. Offensively, obviously, you're getting an understanding for nonverbal communication because you cannot speak during a play, during a scramble. And then defensively, being able to stick with your man for an elongated period of time.
So now we've got another group of 3. Jalen Tolbert, Peyton Hendershot. They put Tolbert in motion. Little fake motion pre-snap. Jalen Brooks out there as well. Here's the scramble from Dak. Now you're just trying to sort things out from the wide receiver position. Tolbert still found it, and he got both feet down. Nicely done by Jalen Tolbert.
Yeah, I'm not sure who might have been chasing Dak, whoever faint defensive end was chasing him, but he wasn't the fastest guy that was chasing Dak, so it gave Dak plenty of time to be able to get the ball down the field. But, again, they had an opportunity to work this scramble drill. That was a good, actually, coverage by the defense.
Looks like Cooper Rush talking with a couple of the guys. Having the conversation with Zeke. They're going to put him back out there. This is good work for both the receivers and the quarterbacks, having the throw on the run as well. Rush wants to go over the middle, and he just missed Ryan Flanoy. Flanoy back in practice, really good sight to see, having him back at the number 18 in the white as he's back in practice. And then if we want to go to the left, right underneath the field goal posts, he just took his helmet off, but look who else is also in pads for the first time today.
He looks familiar.
That's Mr. Trevon Diggs, all-pro cornerback, getting some work. He's been limited in reps, as you see. He's getting a breather at the moment, but he has worked in individual drills.
Yeah,
and he's been hanging out with Val Harris.
Mental reps matter, and he has the best seat in the house right now for mental reps, sitting right there in the goalpost, seeing things from the defensive perspective. You want to be able to – always have more mental reps than you'll ever have physical.
So here's Prescott again, throw into the ones, lofts it up, back end zone. Tyron Billy Johnson was all alone. Not exactly sure who was supposed to be covering the big 1-3, but his camp continues, and both Tolbert and Tyron Billy Johnson have a touchdown grab in this drill. Yeah. Those have probably been the two biggest standouts.
I think Tyron Billy Johnson is going to have one heck of a preseason, but what you're seeing in this drill right here is the offense putting a lot of stress defensively on their communication. They're doing a lot of switch releases from a bunch formation. The defense is playing man-to-man coverage, so there's a lot of informal screens that are taking place on these plays.
This is Zeke Durden, and there's Jake Ferguson back of the end zone. Love to see that from Jake. And against Marquise Bell in coverage, Bell, of course, played a little bit of linebacker last year. Probably more of a safety, truly, in his position group. But either way, he can cover, and he wasn't able to cover Ferguson.
No, that's a big body in the back of the end zone. It comes down to a leverage game as soon as you get down here to the red zone. And if you give up inside leverage, those big tight ends are going to just box you out like they do in the paint.
You think he can have another step forward? He took a huge step to being a Pro Bowler last year. You think Ferguson can step up again?
I think so. I think he's been continuing to get better, and he has one heck of a coach in Linda Wells, so we'll just continue to see him get more involved in the offense.
Ooh, how about that ball? Lofted up to Brandon Cooks, far side, and Cooks tracks it in for the reception. Dak Prescott throwing it on the money.
That is what we call a dime. You called it money, I call it a dime. I think we're both on the same accord. He dropped it right on the outside shoulder. You want to put it right out there to the pylon, so he's either going to be a completion or it's going to be out of bounds. That's good work by those guys getting it in, because we probably won't see it in the preseason.
No, probably not. You won't see Cooks. You won't see Prescott. Probably won't see any of the starters. Unless they're rookies. You can maybe see some of the starters as long as they're rookies. You might see guys like DeMarvion Overshone in the mix. Here's Zeke in the flat. Can he reach for the pylon? He wanted to break back inside. He might have been tackled at that point. And that'll bring an end to the combo drills. Now as we go into more of a true 7-on-7 look, it's only fitting that 7 is in the fold. How about Trevon Diggs taking actual team reps? No offensive line, defensive line, but he's going up against Jalen Tolbert here. Let's take a look and see how Diggs looks on this first rep. Going up against Tolbert, you also have Ferguson in the slot with Kavontae Turpin not far behind. Good change of direction there from Diggs. I liked it. When he put a foot in the ground, didn't take any hesitation. He was actually able to shift.
Yeah, nice quarters coverage, which means he just pretty much had to keep his man in front of him. He did a good job coming out of the break. Ball went a different direction, but again, it's good to see him on the field out here with the team.
Let's keep ISOing here on Diggs. He's got the left sleeve on that left leg. Having some communication. Donovan Wilson, Jordan Lewis in the secondary as well. Now he'll back up, and it looks like he'll have Jalen Brooks. Cuts underneath. Good coverage. Wasn't able to stay with him, and that's probably because it's a half rep for Trevon Diggs.
Yeah,
Brooks able to break away from him, and Dak found him in the process.
And I think he's still playing it relatively safe, obviously trying to get a feel for things out here. More so trusting his eyes, make sure his feet are underneath him. No need to be a hero today.
Looked good even on the first cut because he was with 83 across the formation. It was that second whip back into the inside that they were able to do it that way. Now he bails out. He's got help from Donovan Wilson underneath. That was Brandon Cooks. That's tough to cover whether you're 100% healthy or not.
Yeah, that was just pure cover 3. He dropped out of it, showed press, got out of there. You know, underneath coverage, that's their responsibility. But again, you can see him more so concerned about just making sure that his eyes are where they're supposed to be, his responsibilities are taken care of, and that his feet are underneath him.
So Diggs checks out. Let's take a look and see what we have here. Dak's at quarterback. Tyron Billy Johnson, Rico Dowdle in the formation. The 7-on-7 drill continuing. On the opposite side, if you got Jalen Cropper and Jalen Brooks, slant from Brooks. Now you've got Prescott, throws it just a bit low. He had Jordan Lewis over the top. Good coverage from 2 out of the slot.
Yeah, that entire defense looked good. There was nobody that was available.
So now we're going to change it up. 3rd and 7. So now we have a situation at hand. What kind of parts of your playbook are open on a 3rd and 7?
Well, right now, you know, especially in the 7-on-7 setting, you're probably going to get some press. They're going to make it hard for you to get off the ball. The defensive line is going to try to add some pressure to you, so your receiver's going to have to win early.
Slant over the middle. Had an open man. Instead, he goes far side, and it's bobbled and dropped. Princeton Fant couldn't hold on. And that brings up 4th down for Cooper Rush.
Yeah, that's a good job by the defense. They're trying to back off and let you play everything in front of them because they can all work downhill and keep you short of the yard markers.
So here's Cooper Rush, Hunter Lipke out there, Ryan Flanoy, Malik Davis. Cropper still out there. Rush on the comebacker, and they're a little tug. Eric Scott Jr. had some contact there. No chance to get back to that football, and the flag thrown.
Yeah, he had opportunity to win one-on-one. They were playing man-to-man coverage the entire time, at least on this side of the field. Got a little handsy at the top of the stem, and referee was here to call it. It's good to have referees here on site at practice because it lets guys know what you can and can't get away with before the games actually take place.
I really like this group that's on the field defensively here. I know we just had the penalty against Eric Scott Jr., but you have Buddy Johnson, 57 in the blue, Marquise Bell, 14 in the blue. You've got Johnson at 53. You've also on the other side have Kalen Carson playing the outside corner, Wanye Thomas on the field. That shows some of that depth defensively that I think this Cowboys team's really excited about. Completion underneath there to Peyton Hendershot, but the depth is there defensively, especially when it comes to the linebackers in the secondary.
That's exactly what I was going to touch on, the linebackers. There's a lot of guys that the Cowboys Nation necessarily hasn't seen play in the games that are going to be on the field a lot this preseason. So watch those 50 numbers. There's going to be a lot of those guys that are rotating through.
That preseason is going to be crucial for a lot of those guys because you might be stretched thin in terms of roster spots available, not necessarily bodies available. It looks like the linebackers have had a good camp, and that's even saying something because they can't tackle anybody. They're still having a good camp.
A lot of what we call thudding up, which means you hear a little pop of the pads at the point of contact, and then guys are going to let them go. Going to be a lot of punching, trying to get turnovers, but ultimately you're letting these guys run away. That's the one thing that's difficult for defenders as preseason games approach because that's the one aspect they cannot practice in actual practice.
One's back in here for the defense. Trevon Diggs actually trotted back onto the field. I think he got called to the sideline. He might be on a bit of a pitch count.
They fly fished him.
He tried to sneak out there. He wanted to get in the rep, so at least note that. Long ball to Jalen Tolbert. Tolbert beat Deron Bland and Malik Hooker, two guys who have had good camps so far, but Jalen Tolbert, again, just puts another one on the board.
Yeah, that's all gas, no brakes. That's a lot of speed on the field collectively for the offense. You had B. Cooks, you had Tolbert and Turpin all running down the field. I think every single one of them were open.
I was about to say, I think Cooks was wide open on the same route, the opposite side. I think he probably could have had the same result as well. Good throw from Dak to catch Tolbert in stride. What do you feel like his ceiling is? Is Dak again trying to direct traffic? He didn't hit the hole he wanted to initially, and he dumps it off to Jalen Brooks. But what do you feel like Tolbert's ceiling is going into year 3? And, I mean, having probably the best camp he could have asked for.
Yeah, I'm not sure what his ceiling is going to be, but he's definitely on the escalator going up. And I think that he's gaining a lot of trust, not only from Schottenheimer making the play calls, but obviously Dak feeling confident enough to get the ball in his hands. But he has somebody that's right on his heels, and Tyron Billy Johnson that's adding some pressure as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what reps they get in the preseason.
And now we've got Tolbert and Diggs going after it. Coming back to the football is Turpin, and it's broken up by Wanye Thomas. Wanye Thomas, another piece of depth in that safety position that's having a solid week.
I love Wanye. Wanye was a heck of a player for the Dallas Cowboys last year, not only filling in defensively, but obviously as a core special teamer. I think he's getting the opportunity to continue to prove to this new defensive coaching staff that he is a man that can be trusted defensively for them.
Here's another man who's had a great camp, Tyron Billy Johnson, going up against Diggs, who's back in the fold. Diggs running with the ones in terms of defensive backs, but the twos in the rest of the defense. Dak's still throwing the ball, though, so that's always a starter rep whenever you've got 4 behind center. Now he's having some words with Diggs. Said, hey, good to have you back, but I'm still going to try and make something happen here. Diggs will stay on the field. Now he's covering David Durden. So we'll ISO to that side. Trey Lance is at quarterback. Diggs staying with Durden, and he had a PBU because of it. Nicely done. First PBU. Welcome back, Mr. Diggs.
That was good to see. He went up there and played press man. He's been showing press man and bailing out. That time he actually stayed pressed up on Durden there and then got turned around. Durden did a good job of slapping him by, but the covering skills and the actual ability to be able to accelerate and get in there for a PBU is good to see out of Diggs.
He was just lurking back behind 85. He didn't have a ton of space between him and the receiver. Now Lance unloads far side. That one's caught by Jalen Cropper. He's escorted out of bounds. Nicely done. Trey Lance with a good throw downfield. That's something you've wanted to see throughout camp outside the numbers.
Yeah, I call him Trigger Trey. Yeah, he's able to throw the ball down the field. He's had a number of really good balls down the field of this camp that I personally have seen, and that was just another opportunity there. They had a double A gap blitz, so you're going to have man-to-man coverage. Somebody just has to win on the outside, and Cropper did.
And it's just the consistency that you're looking for. He can throw it downfield, but it's the consistency in doing it over and over again that Lance has to find. This time he goes outside the numbers in the flat, and he completes it to Nathaniel Pete, the running back, undrafted free agent out of Missouri. This is a good drill.
It is, and I know the thing that I'm looking for out of Trey Lance is him to improve upon his anticipation, and that comes with confidence. That comes with understanding what you're seeing defensively. It comes with trusting what your receivers are going to be where they have to be, and then you delivering one heck of a ball.
See what he has here. Quick three-step drop. Now he's going to scramble to his left. Of course, as a right-handed quarterback, you got to have a open window if you're going to throw it across your body like that, and he just decides to run it out of bounds.
Yeah, he's just buying some time.
Good coverage.
It was really good coverage. I think seems to be a man-to-man day today.
So that brings it in here to Training Camp Live with Isaiah Stanback and Kyle Youmans. Plenty of reps, team drills, man coverage, got a lot of that done. But I think, of course, everybody's looking at the same thing that we are. Trevon Diggs back on the field. Number 7 gets his first reps of camp. What are your first thoughts?
He looks good. I mean, you see him playing it cautious. He just wants to train his eyes, make sure that his feet are underneath him, that he's doing what he needs to do to be position-wise in place. But he's not trying to be a hero today by going out there and doing too much.
Well, you mentioned mental reps. These are physical reps.
Yes.
These aren't full-speed reps just yet for Trevon. It might be for the rest of camp, but for Trevon, tap the brakes a little bit. You want to see him healthy whenever the Cleveland Browns come to town, and that's different week 1 of the regular season than it is even preseason. He's got plenty of time going into August 8th for that matchup. But outside of Trevon Diggs, anything else stick out to you?
Just a good job by the defense in their communication. You see that they're working man-to-man today. You see offensively they're working a lot of bunch, means condensed sets when they're doing a lot of switch releases. So defense has to do a good job of not only being sticky on the defense, making sure their guys, they stay in their hip pocket, but also being able to communicate and pass things off depending on the coverage.
And, of course, you can catch more of that analysis with Isaiah Stanback on Sunday afternoon. Cowboys-Rams, first preseason game. He and Bill Jones will be in the booth. I'll be on the sideline. I'll also have Countdown to Kickoff starting at 2 p.m. Central Time from SoFi Stadium. We are right around the corner from actual football being played. Feels good to be back. For Isaiah, for myself, for Alex Lilly behind the camera, I'm Kyle Youmans. We'll see you next time on more Training Camp Live.